The lacing legend of how Moses was saved. Moses' mother hid the child for 3 months. After that time, however, she was no longer able to conceal him as he continued to grow. Furthermore, she was aware that the Egyptians were closely observing her and that if Moses were discovered, he would surely be killed. Moreover, she feared that both she and her husband would be put to death for defying Pharaoh's decree. Consequently, she constructed a basket made of reeds and coated it with pitch and clay so that the odor of the pitch would not irritate the child. She placed Moses inside the basket and set it upon the water, at the point where the Red Sea and the Nile were believed to converge. Miriam followed the basket as it drifted along the Nile. At that moment, angels surrounded the throne of divine justice and protested that the child was destined to perish by water. The Almighty responded that this would not occur, for Moses was destined to stand at the head of God's chosen people and chant the great song of deliverance associated with the crossing of the waters. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, had only one daughter whom he loved greatly. Although she had been married for some time, she remained childless. On the day Moses was placed upon the water, God caused the weather to become unbearably hot, and the people suffered greatly. Pharaoh's daughter, also afflicted by the oppressive heat, went to seek relief by bathing in the waters of the Nile. Upon arriving at the river, she noticed a small basket floating among the reeds on the surface of the water. She ordered one of her maidservants to swim out and retrieve it. When she opened the basket, she discovered a Hebrew child, Moses. Her handmaidens reminded her of her father's decree that all male Hebrew infants were to be killed. They warned her that defying Pharaoh's command would be unwise. No sooner had the maidens spoken these words than they vanished from the earth. According to tradition, the angel Gabriel caused them to sink into the ground, sparing only the maidservant who had retrieved the basket. The princess then summoned an Egyptian woman to nurse the child. However, Moses refused to take nourishment from her. At that moment, Miriam, Moses' sister, approached the princess and explained that a Hebrew child would not nurse from a woman of another people. The princess therefore instructed Miriam to find a Hebrew woman who could care for the child. Miriam immediately ran home and brought her mother, allowing Moses' own mother to nurse him. On that same day, the wise men of Egypt declared before Pharaoh that the child they had foretold, who was destined to deliver Israel, had perished in the waters of the Nile. Believing the threat eliminated, Pharaoh no longer feared the deliverer and rescinded the decree commanding that Hebrew male infants be drowned. In this way, Moses and the children of Israel were spared, although the Egyptian sages had misinterpreted the signs.